So hi guys, as you can see, I do enjoy Queen, and this is actually Queen is becoming my favorite band. Um, to be honest, there are days that I don't listen to anything else than Queen. Either I just listen to the full album or just a few songs. It's with me. I quite often think about the history behind Freddie Mercury and the band, and I am a bit disappointed with the film. However, I don't dislike it as a film. I dislike it as a adaptation of Queen. But I did actually really get into Queen recently. I did really like many of the songs before, but it was like recently, like last year, that I really got into it. And essentially, most of what you will see here in this video of the stuff that I own has been bought in like the last 6 months. Um, yeah, really. So I will show you first. I will start with two books one book I own, one book which I so yeah, here is Freddie Mercury by Peter Freestone with David Evans, and that is a book I bought for my mother. So I will essentially give it to her soon, but I will have to read it first. I'm really excited to read it, and not as excited as I am excited to read the other book I own, like the one and only book which I really own. But I just had to show this one. So yeah, moving forward, the book, which is a biography, and I know there are tons. Believe me, my mother really likes Queen and Freddie Mercury, and she's really have read more than that, and I'm only getting into the. I have listened. I mean, she said to me, told me about a lot of things that happened in the history of Freddie Mercury and Queen, and I really got interested. So she recommended me to pick up this biography, and I wanted to read a biography about Freddie Mercury for a while. It's just that I just didn't get into that. Yeah, now I got a book, and yeah, I will basically read it soon. This is the book Somebody to Love, and I have heard that it's, for the lack of a better word, not sugarcoating Freddie Mercury. Like, I will say it here. I obviously haven't met Freddie Mercury since I have been born like 4 years after he died, but for what I have seen about him as a person, he is a great guy. But there are few mistakes that he did, and they not don't sugarcoat it in this book, from what I've heard. So yeah, I'm interested to pick it up and read. I do really love the cover, I must say. And there are pictures here, which is quite interesting. I do like I don't really read biographies. I think the only one which I have read in full is the Marilyn Manson biography, The Long Road from Hell, or whatever like that. I did start to read Lords of Chaos book and the biography. I think it's White Fever, the biography of Lemmy Kilmister, which I really have to get to. But yeah, this book. I should actually go to the albums and show you the albums, or I would just show you first the DVD, Blu-ray, and VHS releases, and then CDs that they have, and I will tell you if that's something, because there are a few things, like the things by Queen are either things in this collection which I owned for a while, like few years at least. In that case, is that shirt. One of the DVD, like the only DVD that I have here, which you will see is still not unpacked. And then one vinyl, and then basically one CD, are what I had before this year. So yeah, I will show you the only VHS I had, and actually I picked this one up in one of my like most of the stuff I actually have here is either bought online or bought, like most of it is essentially bought through a secondhand store in my city. So that is the place where I actually found two of albums that I will show you later on vinyl. It's Queen Champions of the World, and it's 10 crowns here, so it's cheap. But I just had to pick it up. Okay, um, I do have a VHS player, but it's not connected, and I think it's connected to like this VHS. I think it's released connected to Made in Heaven. So I'll see if I can listen to Made in Heaven, or I have to say I did listen to a few songs from Made in Heaven, but I haven't listened to the full album. I did listen to all the studio albums except for Made in Heaven, most of them twice at least. Okay, so moving forward, the DVD I told you about, which is a documentary, is in Polish. It's Polish released on DVD, and that is the Biography of Queen. It's quite short. It's 67 minutes. Yeah, we'll definitely give it a watch. I will see if there's any. Yeah, no, I don't see anything here about original title. Yeah, no, there's a original title, Queen under Review, the Freddie Mercury story. That's the disc here. So yeah, I own it. Haven't seen it obviously since I haven't opened it, and I will show you actually now the 3 Blu-rays I have, and they're one of them. All two is not opened yet. So the first Blu-ray is this. Live at Rainbow. I actually bought it together with the first album I like. It was actually the first full album, because the album I had before was Greatest Hits, but the first full vinyl, like full album I bought, I got it with this disc, and I will tell you which album that is. And those two, I essentially ordered quite like almost together. They arrived in 2 different packages, but I got this, which is a biography about Freddie Mercury, and then Rock Montreal and Live Aid, which I later noticed, and that's why this is not opened. I will open it someday, obviously, but I've seen that this is actually available on for free, like not for free, but if you have Apple Music subscription, it's there. So, just saying. Okay, so I will move on to the 3 CDs I have, and then I will start with vinyls, and then yeah, basically I'm done. So here is the only album, like the studio album I have on CDs, and I will be getting that one on vinyl too at some point. Is a Kind of Magic. I just seen it in the store, and I had to pick it up because it's Queen, and there exists a possibility of me essentially buying anything that is Queen related at some point. So yeah, there we go. Here is the first. I think I got it from my grandfather. There's a CD of Absolute Greatest Hits, and that is one of the albums of like the things of Queen by Queen I had for a while. So that's something that I had for at least 5 to 6 years. So yeah. Then we have Queen Plus, which is Greatest Hits 3, which I picked up this year in a secondhand store. Again, I had to pick it up. Like the Greatest Hits, it's not necessarily something I would be picking up at all. And then if I am going to pick it up, that might be actually something that I would pick up on CD, because I essentially what I do is I listen to most of the albums on Apple Music. When there's something special, I buy it on vinyl. So yeah, there we go. I hope it's not hardcore enough to be censored, but yeah. So there's one single I have actually, and that is the Body Language from Hot Space. And I will tell you that I do like the song. So yeah. And I got it this year. And actually, there's one album I by Queen I got in the same store, and I was in the same store today, and basically just browsing for vinyls. And I have seen that there's a single of Innuendo, which I possibly could have picked up, but I didn't see the point because, spoiler, I do have an album of it. So, yeah. Okay. And I was spoiling what I will be showing you. Let's just start with first vinyl I had, and that is the only that is my first vinyl. So that's the CD and the T-shirt, the CD of this no, not this CD, this CD, and then the DVD. That's all I had by Queen for like many years until this year. So that is the greatest hits. I don't remember who I have gotten it from, but yeah, I listened to it this year, and I essentially, yeah, I really like. That's basically a bit of how I got this and this CD. It's quite a lot how I got into Queen essentially. I obviously listened to the whole all albums and so on, but it was my go-to record when I wanted to listen to Queen. So to say, yeah. So we have that. I will be putting it back here so I don't trample on it. Okay. So going with the purchases from this year, essentially last 3 or 4 months, to be honest. So yeah, that is Queen, the first album. It was actually a bit more. I think it's the most expensive album I have gotten here. No, one of the more expensive ones. And that is the one I bought in the same store as Body Language. And I have seen it, and I just had to pick it up. I do like how they put the pictures on the back, and I do like Brian May as a penguin, which is then referenced in the Going Slightly Mad music video from Innuendo. Okay, then moving on. This will be one of the 3 albums by Queen, which is quite a new for me because I bought it recently. It's Queen 2. And you know what? I will tell it that this album, I didn't really know any of the songs prior to listening to it, and I've listened to it once last year, and then I essentially forgot a lot of the songs from it because, with the sheer heart attack, you have obviously songs like, Killer Queen, and here you have 7 Seas of Rye, which technically is the song from the first album. And on the first album you have Keep Yourself Alive. So they're the songs which I kind of knew, but I just couldn't remember anything from the album. And essentially I listened to the album a few weeks back. Essentially after I bought the first album, the same day I just started to listen to the first album, and then, I picked up, I went on Apple Music, and I just started to listen to this one, and I just really got hooked. And then I ordered it online, and it came, and I essentially listened to it. And songs, I got into a few songs from this album, and I would say that this is one of my favorite Queen albums, and which is irony because I have bought this shirt before I have listened to this album, and ironically that is image of this album because I know it's more iconic as a Bohemian Rhapsody music video image, but no, it's from Queen 2. So yeah, really enjoyed the White Queen. As it begins is really good. Ogre Battle, the March of the Black Queen, Seven Seas of Rye, the lyrical version, awesome. But disclaimer: the full album is awesome. That's the album I'm basically listening to full on. Okay, moving on. I got it the same day. I got it together with Queen 2. It's Sheer Heart Attack. Obviously, Killer Queen is a highlight for me. It's my favorite song from this album. However, Flick of the Wrist, I got into it recently. And yeah, the Now I'm Here is a song I knew before, obviously. And yeah, but moving on. So this is the first album I have picked up, the first full album. I got it together with Live at Rainbow, and I was essentially I've listened to this album and I was this is the album that got me hooked on with Queen. I listened to it, and then later that day I listened to it again. Obviously, it's A Night at the Opera. It really hooked me. I had to order it directly. I will tell you that I like Bohemian Rhapsody is awesome, and I do enjoy this album, but I feel there are better Queen albums there are albums by Queen I enjoy more than that, but I'm very happy to have it. So obviously Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm in love with my car, deserves a spot. But yeah, moving on. We have the News of the World, which I picked up last week, and I picked up it the same day as I picked up another album by Queen. I do like that it's folded out, so you have the picture here, and then you have picture here. I do like that. Obviously the same thing is with the Queen 2, but it's technically not how the album should look like, but yeah, whatever. Something original. Okay, so the next two albums I picked up together from the same store. It's the same store I picked up like a few months ago. I picked up the VHS of Queen. And the funny thing is, it was the same day I bought Queen, the first album, and then I was basically feeling to go home, but I decided to go to the store, secondhand store, bit higher on, in the city, and then I was like, yeah, okay, I will go there and I will look. The first and the thing with the store is that there's a level. You go into the store and then you have clothes and so on, but then when you go down, so there you can see the books and some vinyls and music and so on, and I'm basically going in down, and I see a picture of this album, and I'm like, yeah, no, because it's characteristical to me, essentially, the cover. I see it in a glass cabinet, and I'm like, no, it can't be it. It can't be a Queen album. As it happens, it was, and beside it was the next album I will be showing you. I'm talking about Jazz, and yeah, obviously, I do like how it folds out. I do like when albums do that. Vinyl albums is a bit of extra there. Mustafa, Fat Bottom Girls, Bicycle Race, and then yeah, Don't Stop Me Now, and I would maybe even say more of that Jazz are my favorite songs from this album. And then okay, the album with my least favorite cover art for a Queen album. Obviously, yeah, the same. I picked it up in the same store, like together with previous album. It's The Game. I'm sorry, essentially the same kind of album cover is for the Works, but for whatever reason, the album for the Works just works better than this one. Um, so yeah, I must say that Another One Bites the Dust and maybe Crazy Little Thing Called Love are quite high for me. I did knew Save Me before though too. So yeah, I enjoy this album. It's not one of my favorites though. My newest pickup, I got it in the store, the same store as the News of the World. That is Flash Gordon soundtrack, and yeah, I haven't seen the film. I do have a T-shirt which I ordered this year too. It's not clean, but is the same. This essentially the white T-shirt with red, bits and red text Flash that Freddie Mercury wore, and I think the character in the film wore too. At least going by the music video. I have listened to this album once, and it's the one Queen album I am quite sure I will not be listening to as much. However, it being Queen, I just had to have it in my collection because it's Queen. I do like because it's not just like the normal album, regular album. I don't really enjoy soundtracks that much, but when I do, I think that's one of the soundtracks I will be listening to the most. So essentially having it on vinyl, it's quite nice. Stranger Things soundtracks on vinyl are another thing that I would like to have. Okay, so we are closing on. We're in the 80s now, and I will tell you that may be unpopular opinion, but as much as I do like the 80s stuff for Queen, I think the 70s were better in 70s, so I think I prefer the 70s. Okay, so pick this one up last week, I think, Hot Space, and yeah, I got to the store and I just we're looking there, and I was like, no, they don't have anything, and then I just felt okay, I can just ask, and this was actually one of the albums I wanted to have, and obviously Body Language, since I have the single, but like the all-time favorite song from this album, like really favorite song, is Under Pressure. Having two great singers, Freddie Mercury and David Bowie, helps. However, the beat itself is nice. I must say I did knew the beat first from Ice Ice Baby, but now when I hear the beat, it's instantly Under Pressure. So yeah, there we go. So we have two more albums. You can see that there are a few albums that I don't have. So yeah, I have to get them. There we go. The Miracle, and I would have to say I did listen to it again a few days ago. And I do really enjoy this one. This is the album, like essentially, two first songs are good. Then we go into The Miracle, which is awesome. I Want It All, which might be my favorite Queen song ever. Then we go to The Invincible Man, which is pretty groovy. We go to The Breakthrough, which is really good. Rain Must Fall, which I really enjoy, Scandal, which really grows on me, and then two other songs which are really good. I did look at the rankings, and this album tends to be put a bit lower, but I do really enjoy it, like really enjoy it. It's it's out there with the next album and Queen 2. for me, and a news of the world. Like, yeah, um, yeah, essentially, I really like that. And essentially, I think even if we go by the cover art, it wasn't like one of my like I didn't really like it before, but since I really got into it, I just really enjoyed the artwork, which is weird. Um, and yeah, going by speaking with artworks, so the three albums by Queen, and I actually own all of them, oddly enough, which have the best artwork in my opinion, are number one Innuendo, number two News of the World, and number three Queen 2. Um, and the worst ones, I think, I would say, the worst three, I would say, are The Game, A Day at the Races. Not bad, but a bit basic, and since we already got, I do like how it mirrors the A Night at the Opera, though. But yeah, it's a bit ironic because I was essentially going by the titles. I was thinking that Bicycle Race and Fat Bottom Girls were on Day at the Races, but whatever. I do like that freaky back of the album. And the last thing you will see here, because that's the last thing I have by Queen, it's Innuendo, which is, I tend to call it, like, I tend to think about it as the last album by Queen, like the proper album. So I would say that, no disrespect to, Made in Heaven and anything. I feel like it's an extra that is maybe good. I haven't heard it, but it's not, the same thing. This is the final proper album with Freddie Mercury, when he was still alive, when he was actively working on the songs, and was more available to produce them. Not to say that he wasn't obviously available at some points to make the Made in Heaven, because he recorded, and the whole album kept him going longer. So it's not that, it's just that is the last, like, more traditional album, and I think it's really great. I will have to listen to it again, and I do really love this edition. Like, the artwork for this album is phenomenal. We have obviously the cover art, which is brilliant. The back. This is actually the version with with two vinyls, so it has four sides. Which I don't know if it essentially means the same thing as with more, like, that is the better quality of them. I'm not that familiar with vinyls, and it's another fold-out where we have two other pictures. There are two. I don't want to put them out, but there are also pictures here with more artwork. Okay, I will fold this one out. I really wanted this because I do really love this artwork. I have seen it on the internet, and the Freddy with cats is just, oh my god. Yeah. The whole atmosphere of this album is just great. I do remember that I don't remember if I have listened to the full album or I just listened to a few songs, but I remember listening to songs from this album, like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Obviously Innuendo is one of my favorites. I'm going slightly mad. Headlong, really good. Delilah. These are the days of our lives, which is sad. And then obviously like one of the other songs, like one of more favorite songs by me, and it's quite fitting that is the last song that was put on an album, or like like when you bought the album when it was released. The last song that you heard is "The Show Must Go On." So the last song, new song by Queen that you have heard when that was meant to be heard while Freddie Mercury was still alive was "Show Must Go On," which I do really love it. And as I said, I did see Innuendo single today. I think it has actually one of the cover art that is here, and I would have gotten it, but I just felt I do have full album, so I don't need that single as well. But I will see if it's still available. I will pick it up. If not, then well, I might find it at some other point. And I will just mention here. There's one more thing which I still haven't gotten. It's in the mail. I should get it next week. It's Funko Pop of Freddie Mercury from the 70s with the checkered outfit. I do prefer, oddly enough actually, when it comes to the look of Freddie Mercury, my favorite look is his 80s look, and I'm torn between the 80s with the mustache, which is the most iconic, or I do feel that, obviously there's reasoning for that look, and not really nice reasoning. I do like the look. I think he looks really nice in with the beard, like the full, not a full beard, but the has beard and not mustache. It's not like he has this shadow there. It was like really stern and really serious look that he had, and really mature. And I feel that is good look. Obviously, he did it to mask the composite sarcoma, which he had gotten on the face from AIDS, and that's the reason why he did it. But I felt for what it is, he did really look good that way. Yeah. So we have the albums. So yeah, the two albums which I still have to get are the A Day at the Races and then The Works. I was actually going to the city hoping that I would find The Works, and A Day at the Races I actually did see it in the same store where I picked up Flash Gordon. However, Flash Gordon was cheaper, and I did want it, like A Day at the Races is most likely the album I would be listening to more than Flash Gordon, but I just wanted to get Flash Gordon today. There's no rush for me to get these albums right now. There's fun about collecting them. Obviously then Made in Heaven, and I might actually order Made in Heaven first, and without listening to it, and then just have it, and without listening to it, and then like, okay, I do have this album, okay, I will get to it. So I with this with the Made in Heaven album, like I did feel a bit of should I or shouldn't I with Innuendo, but it's a lot different with Made in Heaven. So there are a bit of different feelings going with Made in Heaven. And essentially I will most likely get A Kind of Magic on vinyl as well, since I do prefer vinyls. I would like to have one more, the Hungary Rhapsody, would really like to have that one. I am as actually considering getting another T-shirt by Queen. I technically have only this one since the other one is merchandise connected to Flash Gordon film, which was used by Queen. So it's not directly connected to Queen itself. But what I would like to have, it's basically a T-shirt with their logo, just the logo on the black T-shirt. I have seen this kind of T-shirt before, and I do really like that one. So yeah, if I go on the Innuendo album on like white T-shirt is another T-shirt I would like to have, but yeah, maybe not now. So yeah, yeah, I think that's all. I am actually filming this right before I really want. I will be sitting down and watching Highlander movie, which features music by Queen. Essentially, stuff like there are people calling a kind of magic a bit of, like the same thing to like the Flash Gordon of, you know what I mean, the soundtrack for the basically a soundtrack for Highlander. So I haven't seen that film, so it's connected to Queen. Princess of the Universe is by the way, nice song. So yeah.